Hello, this is Anlineoffline. Welcome back to another casual quick guide to Call of Duty Mobile. For today's video, we'll be covering the Rytec AMR. Introduced in Season 6 of 2021, along with the MX9, the Rytec is a multi-caliber, semi-automatic, anti-material rifle from Modern Warfare 2019. It's undoubtedly a Barrett design, chambered in both 50 BMG and the more experimental 25x59mm. Ronnie Barrett was originally a professional photographer. When taking pictures of a patrol boat mounted with M2 Browning machine guns, he got the idea to design a light 50 BMG rifle. Despite having no background in engineering, Barrett became the first to do so and revived the niche of anti-material rifles. The M82 is semi-automatic with a short recoil operation and a reciprocating barrel. The A1 variant introduced its iconic muzzle brake. The CIA caught wind and bought some to supply the Afghan Mujahideen. And after the Swedish made a purchase, the Americans did the same and deployed them during the Gulf War, referring to them as the Special Application Scoped Rifle, or SASR. The position of America's M107 was originally designated to its sister bullpup rifle, but when the military no longer needed a 50 caliber precision bolt action, the title was given to a modernized railed variant of the M82 anyway. Contrary to popular belief, the Barrett 50 cal is not a sniper or precision rifle, but an anti-material one. It has two jobs: take down light armored vehicles or property, and set off unexploded ordnance. It may not have been designed to snipe people, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have a body count. Of the 21 longest recorded sniper kills, half are done with a 50 BMG, half of those are M82s. As for other variants, the A2 is a bullpup prototype, shoulder-mounted like an RPG. It was Advanced Warfare's Atlas 20mm, probably as a reference to an earlier appearance in Jurassic Park 3. The XM500 was another but more conventional bullpup prototype. The real version of the Rytec is based on the XM109, which is chambered in a 25x59 grenade that was originally intended for a cancelled automatic belt-fed launcher. Even with a larger muzzle brake, the recoil was too much. As it stands, the status of the 500 and 109 are unknown, and as of 2021, the 107 will be phased out in favor of the Barrett AMR. As for the Rytec, base damage per shot is very high, but there is a drop-off. Within its initial base range, the Rytec will one-shot anywhere above the legs. Past that, you'll no longer be able to one-shot to the stomach and will have to aim higher to the chest, arms, and head. The fire rate is capped at 120 rounds per minute, faster than bolt actions, but not as fast as the other semi-autos such as the SVD, XPR, etc. The Thermite Rounds can improve your one-shot lethality, but this comes with an asterisk. Base damage is reduced, and the fire rate is now 75 rounds per minute. To compensate, the body multipliers are increased, and shots will inflict burn damage like a thermite. Within a 2.3 meter radius, it'll deal 10 damage per tick. There are 4 ticks in total, with a 400 millisecond delay in between each. You can burn somebody's legs to death up close, but at longer ranges you'll still have to aim for the chest area, and even then you'll be reliant on burn damage. If an enemy has flak jacket, they'll be able to survive leg shots, and if they have quick fix or stims, they could cheat death. The other drawbacks include no penetration and crippling both your sprint out and ADS speed. You can burn players through some vehicles if you hit them in the right spots, however. The explosive rounds share the same drawbacks, but the damage reduction is not as severe. The blast damage is a flat 30 within a 1.7 meter radius, and is instant. In standard multiplayer, these rounds can be used to instantly detonate cars as a trap. You can one-shot anywhere in the body in its first range, and above the legs beyond that. For whatever reason, it deals 50 damage to its user, so I wouldn't recommend hip-firing. If someone has flak jacket, they'll be able to survive leg shots up close with less than 1 HP. You can counter this with the Demo Expert perk, but I would simply recommend aiming above the waist. In terms of mobility, the base movement speeds are below average, and are on par with the ZRG and Arctic 50. The base ADS time is tied with the DLQ and ZRG, but when adjusted for max speed, it only outspeeds the HDR, and that's with all 4 ADS speed attachments. It's tied with the HDR for the slowest sprint out in the game, but with either of the mags, it will be the slowest. The Rytec is unusually fast at swapping to your secondary, but swapping back is quite slow. The base mag size is locked at 5 rounds, regardless of which ammo conversion you use. Unless you're camping from far away, reload cancelling is necessary. With spare rounds, you can do so after inserting the mag. When empty, you can do so just before you use the charging handle. As for accuracy, the breath hold time is the standard 5 seconds. Compared to the other snipers and marksmen I've covered so far, it's the second steadiest behind the HDR. Unlike the other semi-autos, recoil is high and is not quick to recenter. Flinch is standard for its class, and hip firing is not worth it. Not that long before the release of the Rytec, the Arctic 50 with stopping power wreaked havoc. So understandably, the player base was concerned about another semi-auto that could one-shot to the legs. Yes, occasionally annoying in the hands of campers, the Rytec is not the same menace as the Arctic was. Halfway through 2022, the swap times were slightly adjusted, and it underwent optimization in early 2023. Other than that, the Rytec hasn't changed. Quickscoping is not ideal with the small mag and sluggish sprint out, and other snipers can be used just as effectively at long range. I think the ammo conversions do shine in ground war, specifically satellite and crossroads against land vehicles. The chopper and boat in Armada are more bulky though. The closest comparison would be with the Arctic 50. They have the same base fire rate, movement speeds, and idle sway. The Rytec does have better multipliers for one-shotting, better flinch, and is faster to swap to your secondary. The Arctic has more ammo, and is more nimble with its ADS, sprint out, and reload times. Personally, I would lean towards the Arctic for respawns, but not by much. But compared to other semi-autos, they're both outclassed. Those have damage drop-offs and worse sways, but are more nimble and have faster follow-up shots, which is more important for respawn modes. Moving on to suggestions, I understand that it's a 50 cal, but there's no reason for the sprint out to be this slow to balance the gun. Making the sprint out average would make the ammo conversion similar to the HDR. And speaking of conversions, as it stands there's not enough reasons to use Thermite over Explosive. So I think Thermite should perform better against vehicles. A slight AoE buff, and the ability to stack multiple burns, because currently spamming will cause the previous to despawn and the new Thermite to do nothing. And lastly, I know they added a second FAMAS recently, but I hope that doesn't set a precedent to add a second Barrett 50 cal. You can make the case that the FR5F6 and FFAR1 are different enough, but for the light 50s, the only difference in performance is the mag attachments. But hey, that's just my opinion. This has been a Casual's quick guide. Feel free to suggest what weapons you want to see covered next. My name is On, and I'm off.